Landing a job at JP Morgan is no easy feat. Let's find out how we deal with the first knockout stage on your road to getting accepted there, the HireVue. Hi, my name is Patrick. I'm a former hiring manager at a major corporation, and I'm here to make sure you ace the JP Morgan HireVue. We'll split this video into 3 parts. Part 1, we'll look at what to expect on the HireVue. This is great if this is the first time you're applying, and a great refresher if you've applied in the past. Part 2 is making the hiring manager's life easy. We're going to talk about what they're looking for and how you should structure your answers. Part 3 is getting your technical and physical setup ready for the HireVue. That way, you'll be ahead of the crowd before you even answer your first question. Think about how powerful that is. And at the end of the video, I'll discuss something that not a single YouTube video can help you with. Not even this one. So stick around for that. Okay, let's get to it. Part 1, what to expect on the JP Morgan HireVue. The HireVue is an interview where the questions are decoupled from the answers. Simply put, you'll be shown pre-recorded questions and you have to record yourself answering those questions. JP Morgan HireVue interviews are typically sent out moments after you submit your application on their careers website. So keep an eye out for that email with a unique link that will take you to your HireVue interview. After you log in, you'll be asked by HireVue to give them camera and microphone access. The pop-up will look something like this. Make sure you allow both. After that, you'll be shown the return feed from your own camera, kind of like a selfie camera. Below that will be a microphone level meter. Just make sure that when you speak, it lights up. With that, you're set and ready for your interview. I'll go into audio and video tips in the third part of this video, so stick around for that. If you're happy with your setup, click next, and you'll go into the interview. The exact details of JP Morgan's HireVue vary slightly year to year and even program to program. But what I'll discuss here definitely applies to every single JP Morgan HireVue. You'll have to record yourself answering 3 to 5 questions. You'll be shown a pre-recorded video from the JP Morgan hiring team. You'll have 30 seconds to prepare, and then you'll have 2 minutes to answer. You can wait for the prep timer or the record timer to count down all the way to 0, or you can skip them by clicking on the skip button. This process will repeat itself for however many questions they have for you, and then the interview is over. You might think that recording yourself on a HireVue is not a strange experience, but once that light goes on, it really saps your confidence. So it pays to really prepare and build up that confidence. Get used to recording yourself on a platform like Voomer, where you can practice an environment that looks just like HireVue's and uses past and present HireVue questions. That way you can build up your confidence for the big day. I'll leave a link to a free trial in the pinned comment below. After you submitted your HireVue, JP Morgan will get back in touch with you between a week to a month's time to schedule a follow-up interview or your super day. Okay, now part 2. How do you make the hiring manager's life easy? We're going to make sure that your answers are the easiest thumbs up your hiring manager has ever given an applicant. The first step here is understanding what types of questions get asked on a HireVue. The vast majority of the questions are behavioral questions. There's a video where we discuss behavioral questions in depth in the description below. But in a nutshell, behavioral questions are questions that are going to probe your competencies and how you've used these competencies in the past. What this means for us is that we have to understand which competencies JP Morgan is interested in, and then shortlist examples from our career and personal life that match each of those competencies down to a T. You're going to make this painfully obvious to the person watching your video. And so all they have to do is say, yup, that answer matches what I'm looking for. Thumbs up, off to the next stage. So what are these competencies that JP Morgan is looking for? If we look carefully through JP's publicly available information, they tell you what the competencies are. Client service, operational excellence, a commitment to integrity, fairness and responsibility, and finally, a great team and a winning culture. That's very corporate speak and hard to memorize, so let's break these down. The first 3 are pretty obvious: customer focus, excellence, and integrity. The 4th competency talks about ownership, and the 5th one, teamwork. You can also see how diversity is kind of hidden between competency number 4 and 5. Now comes the easy part. Write down those competencies and look to your past career and personal life and search for examples that relate to each of those competencies in a very clear and direct way. This means the questions can be phrased in any which way and you'll still be able to crack them easily. Let's look at some sample questions to see how these competencies turn into questions. For customer focus, they might ask you about a time that you had to deal with an angry customer. For excellence, they might ask you to talk about your proudest achievement. For integrity, they might ask you, Tell us about a time that your values are put into question. For the ownership question, they might ask you about a time that you had to own up to a failure in your career. And finally, for teamwork and diversity, they might ask you about a time that you had to work with somebody from a different cultural background to yours. Make sure your answers are structured with the STAR method, STAR. S for situation. What was the situation when you arrived at the problem? T is for task. What was your brief? Or what did you set out to do? A is for action. What did you actually do? And finally, R for results. What were the results of your actions? And remember, your actions, not your team's, not your supervisors, not your direct reports, what your actions were. Now, besides the behavioral questions, JP Morgan's HireVue will also have some motivational questions. Motivational questions are those classic interview questions like, why do you want to work here? What do we do at JP Morgan? What interests you about the department you're applying to? You're going to answer these questions in the exact same way we answer the behavioral questions. You're going to look to the competencies that JP Morgan is interested in and talk about those. So for the question, why do you want to work at JP Morgan? An answer could be that you want to work at one of the greatest financial institutions in the world with a very diverse and committed team. That hits off several of the competencies we've discussed previously and makes the hiring manager very happy. If you feel like you've gotten value from this video so far, please consider dropping us a like and subscribing. We're always releasing new videos and you might be applying to one of these companies we're going to cover in the near future. Now for part 3, we're going to discuss something that many people overlook and it puts them at a disadvantage even before they answer the first question. And that's the technical and physical setup of their HireVue. Now, why is this so important? It's because the people reviewing your JP Morgan HireVue are just that, people. And people are lazy, people have unconscious biases, and people want to be doing something else rather than just viewing applicant videos. The sad truth is that your video will either get a thumbs up or a thumbs down in the first couple of seconds of your interview, and this is backed up by lots of evidence in the HR space. The first step you should take care of, and the easiest, is to take care of your personal appearance. So make sure you dress in the same way you would to a face-to-face interview or a super day interview. Remember, when in doubt, always overdress. The next thing you want to take care of is your camera angle. If you're recording on your laptop or desktop, and I recommend you don't use a cell phone, you'll probably notice that your camera is slightly lower or much lower than your eye level. You want to simulate a real face-to-face interaction. So if your camera is much lower than your eye level, you want to raise up your camera either by placing books or other sturdy objects underneath your camera so that it is at your eye level. Now let's talk about lighting. If my video looked like this, you would instantly bounce. And the same thing holds for HireVue interviews. That might seem like an extreme example, but people submit HireVues with lousy lighting all the time. Place lights behind your camera to make sure that your face is illuminated. Avoid having lights in the background that may be distracting or cause lens flares. We want the viewer to quickly connect with your facial expressions, and having a well-lit up face is a great step in that direction. Audio is another critically important issue here. Audio from laptop microphones sounds tinny, lacks depth, and is just unpleasant to listen to. You can buy a cheap lapel microphone online that will sound much better than the vast majority of laptop microphones. Or you could invest a little bit more and sound really well on your HireVue. And now for my last tip, and something that this video can help you with and no other videos will. Confidence. The good news is that confidence comes with practice. And there's a really easy way to practice for your JP Morgan HireVue. At tryvoomer.com, you can start practicing immediately for your JP Morgan HireVue with past and present questions, and you get AI-powered feedback on your results and your technical setup. That way you can improve very quickly and get that confidence boost you need to ace the JP Morgan HireVue. I'll leave a link to a free trial in the pinned comment below. And if you feel like you got value from this video, please consider liking and subscribing. Good luck on your interview.